fighting.
Kevin Kelly fight. I haven't thought about that one in a long, long time. 50 years. Lots happened to me since then. Let's see if I can still tell it right. It was my first fight in New York City, Madison Square Garden. I danced behind that curtain so long I drove those people crazy. I loved it.
Hector Camacho, Jorge Paez, Michael Jackson, and P.T. Barnum all rolled into one. And now face to face with Kevin, and the fisticuffs almost begin before the official introductions.
Is Hamed a prince or a fraud?
Couldn't believe I got knocked down 2 minutes into the fight. You should have seen the look on everyone's faces at ringside.
The wonderful thing coming into tonight was you knew that anything could happen. And one of the things that could happen would be that the Prince was exposed as a fraud. There's the power you were talking about. And Kelly is stunned.
By the 4th round, I showed I could take his best. Could Kelly take mine?
Down goes Kelly on 2 hard left hands. That's going to be ruled a knockdown as Naseem's glove grazed the canvas. Leaping right hand by the Prince. And a hard left. And Kelly's down for the 3rd time.
The fight is over. He's for real. The Prince is for real.
Punching power, George.
It's almost like De La Hoya. They don't know where they get the power from.
Everything he said he was, and more. Prince Naseem Hamed.
At the end of the day, there were 6 knockdowns. I showed that I could give it and I could take it. Now, my next fight was against Wilfredo Vasquez. Let me tell you, that was a fight you had to see. Manchester, England, the fans were going wild.
Tonight, we're on featherweight thunderbolt Prince Naseem Hamed's home turf in Manchester, England, just about an hour's drive from the Prince's home in Sheffield. Tonight in the brand new 21,000-seat 9X Arena, Hamed takes on 37-year-old Wilfredo Vasquez, himself a 3-time world champion. But the Puerto Rican star gave up his most recent title to earn the biggest paycheck of his life tonight. Will it be worth it? On a day on which Manchester United struggled to a 1-1 tie with Newcastle in a critical Premier League football match, attention shifts to the blockbuster expectations surrounding local hero Prince Naseem, a Yemeni-bred Englishman whose success underlines the swelling diversity of British society. Fans hungry for victory tonight fill $325 ringside seats, $50 purchase in the top row, to root for the featherweight champion who once was taunted by classmates on the nearby schoolyards of Sheffield. It's the Prince who does the taunting now. It's his presence that makes this arena the place to be tonight in the United Kingdom. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. Welcome back to this edition of HBO's World Championship Boxing. We stipulate from the beginning we are not actually live. A brief tape delay of just a couple of hours between here and our transmission on the East Coast. So let's call it almost live as Prince Naseem prepares to further polish the credentials which have already made him the highest priced fighter ever in a division in which some of the greats of all time have shown their wares. Sandy Sadler, Willie Pep, Kid Chocolate, Salvador Sanchez, just to name a few. Working with me as always, another of the greatest fighters of all time, HBO boxing expert George Foreman. And George, let's talk about 37-year-old, 3-time world titleist Wilfredo Vasquez. How does his vast experience, his exceptionally calm demeanor, figure into tonight's event?
Well, it's all of the above has got to be working tonight. One wrong move out of the conservative bag, and he could be lying on the floor. This guy guy's got all of the stuff to pull an upset, but he's got to stay within his orthodox, don't get fancy, don't get foolish, and he can do something.
That's what Kevin Kelly was unable to do in December in Madison Square Garden against the Prince. That's what Vasquez has vowed to do tonight. Working with us, as always, of course, HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant. And Larry, back on Broadway in December, the reviews for the Prince's performance were mixed. He was a smash hit as an entertainer. He almost crashed as a boxer. What can we expect tonight?
Well, for entertainment, Jim, I think we can expect another of those choreographed entrances, an act that would even make the god of self-love, Narcissus, blush. In the ring, we can expect that Hamed will revert to the run-and-gun style that made him a star here in Britain and all over Europe. He tried to gun-and-gun against Kevin Kelly and almost got outgunned himself. Whatever. Doubters about him in America ought to give him the benefit of the doubt, if for no other reason than that he is the only major boxing attraction who appears eager to fight all comers. He's not hiding behind outrageous demands to duck the best fighters out there. The main question about him, Jim, is whether his desire to test himself as a fighter, to be the best as a fighter, will in any way conflict with his need to entertain. Not everybody can keep pulling that off.
It's a question being asked not only by objective critics like yourself, but even by those closest to the Prince. Notably, the trainer, Brendan Ingalls, who's had him since he was a young amateur. Ingalls says it's time for the Prince to get his act together.
It was great going to the Mecca of boxing. Your name in lights and everywhere and pictures all over, and everybody wants to see you produce the goods on the night.
Down goes the Prince on Kelly's first serious landed punch.
He's not a great defensive fighter, but he's got a heck of a chin, and he's got a lot of heart.
His gloves touch the canvas, the count begins. The second knockdown for Kelly.
He has terrible balance, and because he has terrible balance, every time he gets hit clean, he's going to go down.
There's the power you were talking about, and Kelly is stunned.
He does throw a good punch from crazy angles, which therefore have a better effect than if they were thrown from more orthodox angles.
Leaping right hand by the Prince, and a hard left, and Kelly's down for the third time.
He showed resiliency, he showed courage, he showed faith, confidence, and guts when under fire, no doubt about it.
What we just saw was the Hagler Hearns of featherweight fighting.
In all the books of boxing, he does things wrong, but he gets away with it. He almost didn't. But to do things wrong, you have to be pretty good at it. And he's not good enough at doing things wrong yet.
Criticisms of Prince Naseem Hamed's exciting but flawed performance trailed him from Madison Square Garden across the Atlantic back home to England.
I wanted to fight, you know, I wanted to rumble, you know. My boxing skills really went out the window because I just wanted to take Kevin out that much.
I said to him, you've got to go back to the basics, what you were doing before. And we have disagreements about this, but I know, because there's no shortcuts in life.
It's certainly not like it was when Naz first won the world title. It's changed. You could argue that it's matured, or you could argue with some conviction that it's troubled.
Up to Christmas, I had plenty of problems with him because he's developing, he's getting his own ideas, he's got vast amounts of money.
The Prince's success in the ring has made him one of boxing's biggest stars. But with the celebrity lifestyle come conflicting priorities and royal distractions.
He neglected his footwork, he neglected his dummies. But this has gone on for a few fights because all of a sudden he's physically matured. You know, so he's thinking, oh, I can walk through them. He's neglected what he's good is making the other fella miss.
I want to throw my boxing skills out. That never ever happens. But at that moment in time, you know, I just wanted to knock Kevin out.
Naz possibly feels that he needs less attention from someone who, Brendan, who still believes Naz needs lots of attention. And I think they both have a point.
Hamed can in no way escape the internal friction and constant media scrutiny that come with being featherweight world champ. But returning to Sheffield, his lifelong haven, sometimes helps.
You've got some kind of salvation in a little sort of quiet city like Sheffield, where you can just relax and put things into perspective about your life and realize that, you know, New York it's not all that, in terms of knowing that there's somewhere where you can have a bit of peace and quiet.
I'm just a normal kid on the street here, but I've got roots in the Arab world that I'll never forget and know where my parents are from. But it's true, I could live anywhere in the world, but to me, Sheffield is down to earth. It's a good place. It's a man's game, this game.
So ironically, the 126-pound master of bravado seems comfortable dancing away from all the attention.
Yeah.
And Prince Naseem Hamed says he won't give up his life as a commoner in one of the commonest, most working-class towns in England.
Red comes to 7. People, when they get to a certain stage, accumulate so much money, they move camps, they go here, they go... I've never been to another gym in my life. I started here and I'll finish here, you know?
So who is Naz? The low-key but flamboyantly skilled local hero who fought out of character in a big fight? Or that flashy but limited banger we saw against Kelly? Prince Naseem Hamed and Wilfredo Vasquez. You can see that Vasquez is surrendering 13 years in age to the Prince, a 2-inch height advantage for the Puerto Rican. They weighed in yesterday afternoon, Hamed at 125, Vasquez originally at 127 3/4. 30 minutes later, he came back at the proper weight of 126. An hour and a half before fight time tonight, Hamed weighed 136 and Vasquez 132, equal in reach at 63 inches apiece. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
Hamed's numbers are against Kevin Kelly. Vasquez in his big upset over Orlando Canizales 3 years ago. What these numbers will mean tonight, hard to project. Vasquez has never met anyone with the herky-jerky, quirky style of Hamed. Jabs will tell the story for Vasquez. He has to keep throwing it, keep Hamed off balance.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Wilfredo Vasquez Prince Naseem Hamed fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the standardized rules of boxing for all World Championship fights. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell at any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
And for those of you who want to grow up to be just like Harold, we have an added feature on our telecasts. It's hbo.com/boxing. Log on now. Then during the fight, you'll be able to vote on who won each round, access statistics, and after the fight, you can chat with other fight fans on our bulletin boards. Wilfredo Vasquez will enter the ring first, and then he'll be forced to go through the long wait as Prince Naseem will take his time coming into the ring.
Vasquez wanted to come in as a king to the younger man's Prince. I imagine Prince and his followers are surprised that he hasn't come in a wheelchair.
20 appearances in championship fights, as you saw. Record of 16-3-1. Vasquez has won world titles at 118 pounds, 122 pounds, and 126. He surrendered the 126-pound crown to take this fight. Overall record, 50 wins, 7 losses, 3 draws, 37 KOs by Vasquez. He himself has been knocked out twice.
And he has lost just 1 fight in the last 7 years.
extra salsa here for the Vasquez entrance. Picante. Naseem there as he patrols the outer halls of the arena and gets ready to make his own entrance.
Of boxing, the defending champion, Prince Naseem Ahmed.
Whatever it takes them to get people in the tent, George.
That's right. They're here too.
You're going to see a computer-controlled waterfall there, which will double as the projection screen for the images which appear before you. In Madison Square Garden, December 19, it took Naz more than 7 minutes to make it from behind the screen to the ring.
Was made about unemployed workers in Sheffield, Ahmed's hometown, who turned to full frontal nude stripping to make some money. I think what we're looking at here is the half Monty. But you can't hide. Kevin Kelly showed that you can dance, but you can't hide.
Wilfredo Vasquez waits this out in his corner, surrounded by his handlers and good friend, 147-pound world champion Felix Trinidad, right there in the foreground, accompanying Vasquez. And the Prince's act continues. The Prince is recently married, but that obviously has done nothing to tone down this portion of his act. Vasquez's calm demeanor momentarily disappears. There's the record for the Prince, 29-0 with 27 KOs. He's knocked out his last 17 opponents. Against the opponents he's faced so far, knockout power in either hand and an almost indescribably unorthodox style. And that's the fighting we're talking about. Naseem's father enjoying the action from ringside.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Nymex Arena, Manchester, England, Mr. Frank Warren for Sports Network, sponsored by Adidas and the McCarthy Corporation, proudly presents the main event of the evening, sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control. Supervisor, John Morris. Steward in charge, Dennis Lockton. Timekeeper at the bell, Colin Roberts. Also sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization. WBO President and Supervisor at ringside, Francisco Barcarcel. The three judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system will be Frank Cairo of the USA, Dave Harris from England, and Paul Thomas from England. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, also from the United States, Gino Rodriguez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Featherweight Championship of the World. Are you ready? Manchester, England, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the entire world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red with white and weighing in at 9 stone even, or 126 pounds. He brings a professional record of 60 bouts, 50 victories, 37 by knockout with 7 defeats and 3 draws. He has captured 3 world titles in 3 divisions. And tonight, he plans to solidify his march to the Boxing Hall of Fame with a 4th title. Ladies and gentlemen, from Bayamon, Puerto Rico, here is the challenger, former 3-time champion of the world, Wilfredo Vasquez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing leopard with Adidas trim. He weighs 8 stone, 13 3/4 pounds, or 125 pounds even. In his professional career, he has a perfect record consisting of 29 victories and 29 bouts, 27 by knockout, and he has captured 2 world title belts. He is considered by many to be among the best pound for pound in the world today. From Sheffield, England, ladies and gentlemen, presenting the reigning and defending undefeated WBO featherweight champion of the world, Prince Naseem
Wilfredo, te di las
instrucciones, obedece mis instrucciones todo el tiempo, protégete todo el tiempo. Nash, I give you instructions, protect yourself at all times, protect my, and obey my commands at all times. Good luck to both of you. Buena suerte.
The issue, Jim, is whether Vasquez is one of those veteran champions who has had some indifferent outings recently, but can raise his game for the big one. We saw Holyfield do that against Tyson. Vasquez has won on bigger odds against him than he has tonight in the past.
From trainer Alex Matos to Wilfredo Vasquez, and round one begins without a bell. As in the southpaw stance, he'll pirouette in the air, switch feet from side to side, throw wild punches at varying angles. Vasquez is a boxer who wants to stay within his envelope here and do what Kevin Kelly didn't do in New York, box the Prince.
And that's right, as Vasquez can just stay within the orthodox left foot first. Don't let anything make you put your right foot out in front of you. Conservatively make this a boxing match. He can win. On the other hand, the Prince just keep jumping around and doing foolishness, and he can win easily.
Naseem acknowledged to us that his balance in some portions of the Kelly fight was atrocious. Says that he's worked in the gym to make it better. But with his style, it's simply impossible to be properly balanced all the time.
That's right. That's the last thing he won in his career, some balance. And the Prince should just take his time, throw light punches, develop some target and some accuracy before you start trying to land the big shots. They'll come as the fight go on.
Not much contact in the first minute of the fight. Vasquez stares at the puzzle of the Prince and tries to figure out where the angles are. Straight right hand lands for Naseem.
Naseem keeps his right foot way behind, so he's able to pick it up at any time and be at least 4 feet out of the way of a punch.
Wide stance for Naseem. Exceptionally powerful legs for a featherweight. Some say that's where the extraordinary punching power comes from.
Now, Vasquez has said he should go to the body, and he would go to the body. He's waiting around now for headshots. Just not going to happen in the first and second round.
Right hand by Vasquez momentarily drives Hamed back into the ropes. The Prince moves to his left and gets away. Naseem throws Vasquez to the canvas.
That was a throw, but there was something on the previous contact also to help it go down like that. The previous exchange, you see, big things are happening and you only see them when little things happen afterwards.
Bell rings to end round one. As we go to the corners, we'll point out to you this will be slightly different than the normal HBO boxing telecast to which you become accustomed. We don't have corner audio here because we're taking a British feed from Sky Television. It's not allowed by the British Board of Boxing Control. We also don't have our own handheld cameras, so we may not get the kinds of shots throughout the period between rounds that you're most used to seeing here on HBO.
You see the previous shot.
Yeah, after that awkward collision, but as George has pointed out, there was a shot just before that.
Vasquez able to throw only 24 punches in the first round, and you saw the punch stat numbers before the fight that showed him averaging 60 punches a round. And Larry, very accurately you pointed out that those numbers may reverse in this fight.
He was trying to lure the Prince into something. The Prince refused to be lured.
Vasquez's people totally confident that their man will have the advantage in infighting sequences, and Hamed apparently agreeing, refusing to infight with Vasquez. And he lands a hard right hand as Vasquez comes at it.
Now Vasquez is doing a bad job of his footwork. He's allowing the Prince to put his right foot on the outside whenever he wants. The Prince actually reaches out and touches toes with him for a moment.
Looked to me as though Vasquez's glove momentarily touched the canvas, but referee Gino Rodriguez didn't step in to rule it a knockdown. Nevertheless, Hamed has landed a couple of power shots.
Now he wipes the gloves.
Yep. Acknowledging that they touched the canvas.
Vasquez predicted that he would stop, Hamed predicted he'd stop Vasquez in 2 rounds, and I asked him, well, how does that jibe with your profession to want to do more boxing? He says, well, I'll box him in the first round and knock him out in the second. He has knocked out 11 previous opponents in the second round.
And claims that he predicted them all.
Well, if you always say I'm going to knock him out in the second round, then you were right when you do.
Watch the Prince goes out and put his right toe on the left foot of Vasquez to make sure that he's behind. There he goes.
Naseem almost off balance again as he stepped past Vasquez. Vasquez, just as in the first round, unable to find many chances to launch his shots.
This is an uncharacteristic performance by Vasquez. You don't often see him throw wild punches like that.
Boy, was he caught with a couple of left and right hooks.
Oh, hard right hand by Vasquez. Naseem almost goes down, now rights himself, moves back to the center of the ring. Best shot so far by the Puerto Rican.
He's been laying a trap for that punch. And Vasquez showed us against Kelly that he can take it.
One thing about the jumping around and dropping your hands, you always leave way, hey, I'm going to get hit here and there. I'm just not going to take it personal. So when you have that kind of style, you expect to get hit while you're jumping in and out of the way. That's why he doesn't take it for much. Naseem is not going to be overly concerned about being hit.
There goes the prediction of a second round knockout.
It looked as though Naseem, after landing that left, thought, okay, I've got him now. Second round knockout, left himself open. Vasquez right back. Brilliant punch. Naseem keeps his balance.
Excuse me.
Prince Naseem Hamed landed 22 of 53 punches by CompuBox numbers in the second round. Vasquez 9 of 41.
There's another exhibition of that right foot forward, and he leans all the way back on the left foot whenever he wants to get out of the way. So your fellow, he makes contact with your foot, but yet your body's so far away, it's hard to throw a shot.
Crowd here in a little bit of a lull at this moment. About 30 minutes ago, they were in an absolute frothing frenzy as they watched the closing stages of a sensational cruiserweight battle between local champ Carl Thompson. Down goes Rivera. Left hand shot by Prince Naseem.
That's an example of you can't stand there and just wait. You got to be doing something, a left jab, moving that left foot at all time, forward or in a circle.
And now the crowd comes back to life. We told you they watched a brilliant cruiserweight battle between local champion Carl Thompson and longtime British veteran Chris Eubank. It was as good a fight as you'd ever want to see. 12-round decision won by Thompson. Prince Naseem landing hard, clean shots in this round, George.
Vasquez has allowed him to go left, right, throw a shot. Once he goes to a weaker point, attack at some point to make him start all over again.
You know, but the old man did come to fight. Whether he can stay here with the kid remains to be seen.
Another Straight left hand for Naseem, who's landed 4 of them in this round. Vasquez trying to get closer where he thinks he can apply his advantages. Naseem whirling and pirouetting away and coming back with wild shots that make the mark.
And he stands on his feet watching everything that's going on before he decides to move.
Extraordinarily unusual athlete, Prince Naseem Hamed. Makes the unconventional work for him.
See, Vasquez is starting to backhand all of the things that you just can't do. You got to stay focused, solid, left foot first. Nothing happens unless you fake a right hand, throw a left hook. You get into the wildness, that's the world of the Prince. Now the Prince lands a jab to the body.
Round 3 comes to a close, the round in which Prince Naseem, for the first time, deposited Wilfredo Vasquez on his trunks.
Took possession yesterday of a $400,000 Bentley. He was tooling around town in it. Vasquez has been trying to put a few scratches on it. He did in the previous round, but in this round, he catches an unorthodox punch from an unorthodox angle and down on the seat of his pants. This is something you can't coach. It's something that he developed himself, George.
Pure instincts.
Through 3 rounds, Wilfredo Vasquez averaging 36 punches per round as his output. We showed you before the fight. Coming in several recent fights, he'd been averaging 60 punches per round. He's not able to locate the target as often here as he goes against the king of unorthodoxy, Prince Naseem Hamed.
Thing about Hamed, he gets hit, he still doesn't stop punching, goes back and wonder what went wrong. He continuously fights. Vasquez is making you don't want to wait around for counter punches. If you wait around, that's what they want you to do. You've got to do something that has to continuously happen all the time. You wait, you're just going to get hit.
Vasquez lunging uncharacteristically, trying to get close to the target. Hamed popping, turning, whirling away.
Vasquez's corner should tell him the Prince's feet are so wide apart, you cannot allow your feet to be equally as wide. Shorten up the distance between the 2 feet.
Right hand and a left hand by Prince Naseem as he leaps in to make contact. See Vasquez trying to discipline himself to stay within his boxing envelope, but eager to get at the Prince at the same time. Hard to do both.
Now he was able to get a right hand in the body, Vasquez was. That's going to really pay off for him as the fight continuously go on and on.
Round 4 of the scheduled 12, Manchester, England. Local crowd in an adoring mood as they wait for Prince Naseem to light them up with the expected knockout.
Well, if Vasquez is going to take punches like he did that left hand about 15 seconds ago, we may not see a knockout anytime soon.
One knockdown in the fight so far.
Vasquez is going to the body like he should. Now the Prince goes with a straight right to the body, which is hard for a boxer.
Vasquez comes back over the top with a chopping right hand.
The thing about it, you go down to the body a couple of times, the guy's protecting his body, and then you go right on top easily with another straight left.
Hard right hand by Hamed. Equally hard right hand in return by Vasquez.
Oh, I saw sparks.
Spontaneous combustion from time to time as the two fighters leap in to trade shots. Vasquez, I think, may have pecked Hamed on the cheek, and the Prince didn't like it. And let's take a look now at Prince Naseem as a 13-year-old in manager-trainer Brendan Ingles' gym in Sheffield. And you'll see, even then, the total unorthodoxy of his style as he puts the gloves behind his back and pirouettes away.
I'm all right. Just moving and slipping, hitting, getting out of the way.
Is that your great gift?
Yeah, that's mine.
What about your punching power?
I'm not a really hard hitter, but I can hit when it comes to people who want to hit.
Boy. 11 years ago, he didn't think of himself as a particularly hard hitter. That perception has changed for the Prince.
You know, what we're seeing is what I call a street style. A style that a small fellow in the street finds a style to be able to deal with the big guys.
And you know what? If a guy can continue that kind of style in the ring, he can have a good career. You don't want to lose that child's touch and the movement of your feet that is.
Harold Letterman, how do you have this fight?
Jim, 4 rounds to nothing, 40-35, Prince Naseem Hamed. You got to give him an extra point for the knockdown in the 3rd round. And I tell you the truth, I thought it was a knockdown in the 2nd round when Wilfredo Vasquez's gloves touched. But I want to tell you, if you go 4 rounds with your hands down, you sure get hit once in a while. And Wilfredo did land some nice rights.
Straight right hand by Vasquez drives Naseem back into the ropes. Momentarily off balance, now back up and looking for an opportunity to come back.
Now the Prince has allowed Vasquez to get a little confidence here. And you don't want that over the long range with an experienced boxer. His confidence, he'll get his legs up under him and you will be in trouble.
Well, Vasquez made a prediction as well, or at least he told us his plan, which was to study the Prince for 4 or 5 rounds and then fight him. Maybe he's moved that plan up.
He's able to do a few more things this round than he did the previous round.
Yeah, Vasquez is getting more aggressive as he seems to be solving the puzzle of how to get at the Prince. Certainly making more contact in this round than has been the case in the first 4.
And I think the Prince should go back to his original ideal. Don't throw hard shots. Just measure your man, making sure he's there where those punches are supposed to be coming with power. Touches him with a good right jab, touches him here and there, and then he throws a power shot. Backhand again.
And referee Gino Rodriguez warns Vasquez against the backhand flip.
That was also in plan A, which was to go to the body. He hasn't been able to do it effectively very often, Vasquez.
As time goes on, Vasquez will be hoping to bring Naseem down off the balls of his feet, give him a better chance at going in to hunt the body.
The thing about a guy who jumps punches in, you got to get a rhythm. How many punches does he throw before he jumps a punch in? And then you start timing it and you catch him.
Well, a lot of folks doubted that the fight would last as long as the walk-in before the fight. It already has.
Vasquez, for the first time, threw more punches than Hamed, 47-37, landed more, 17-13, and had a 14-5 edge in power shots. So round 5, numerically, according to CompuBox observations, by far the best round so far for Wilfredo Vasquez.
Now Vasquez he's lured Princeton to an orthodox fight now. Stand there, jab, try to get me.
Straight left and down goes Wilfredo again.
Solid left hand, delayed reaction.
Second knockdown.
if you're going to lure your man into a boxing match, you can't just wait. You got to do something. Vasquez is not jabbing. He's not throwing right hands. He just waits.
Well, you talked about how Prince Naseem would look to time Vasquez's inward lunges, and it looked like he was able to time that one with the straight left.
No, I was thinking that the Naseem should be timed by Vasquez. He throws 2, 3 good shots, and then he jumps in. You got to get a rhythm to that. Mathematically start counting. He's thrown 3. He's going to jump sooner or later and go for it. There you are. You see, it's always 3 or 4 shots, and he'll jump one in. And he was able to land that time because there's your one.
Chopping right hand by Vasquez as the referee tries to break the two fighters and points out that the ropes are awfully loose. Momentary delay here. Loose rope, the third rope up. And now officials go to work trying to tighten on the far side of the ring.
This has been intentionally done.
By whom and for what reason, George?
Well, the Prince is jumping into those ropes. He needs as much slack as he can.
I think we'll have to get Agatha Christie on the case.
But someone did that, and I think it was the Vasquez camp. I mean, they need a little time. Why not?
Naseem speaks English but no Spanish. Vasquez speaks Spanish but not much English, so the two fighters communicate with each other by hand signals. And as the ropes were being tightened, Vasquez was making signs with his gloves across the ring to the Prince. Not sure exactly what he's trying to communicate.
The fighters from Puerto Rico, they have such a tradition of hanging in there. You're just not going to knock them down with one shot and expect them to get up and wait to be knocked out. Puerto Rican boxers will give you a fight.
Broken!
Now the determination is that the third rope is broken.
Well, the British Board of Control hasn't controlled matters so well here, although they've kept us out of the corners with any sound.
Well, the two fighters in the cruiserweight bout, Chris Eubank and Carl Thompson, barreled into the ropes over and over and over, particularly in the closing rounds.
They really did.
And they may have loosened this rope.
They actually fell over. They really did. I'd forgotten about that.
Meanwhile, at the far side of the ring, Naseem is getting a lecture from promoter Frank Warren. Warren seems to be momentarily taking on the role of trainer there as he talks technique with the Prince. And Gino Rodriguez, the referee, says, no, get away from him.
That is control.
What are you doing? Naseem's trainer, Brendan Ingle, takes a hand at tightening the rope on the far side of the ring.
Well, who's the rope-a-dope now? George, you're familiar with that.
I know a lot about that one. I'm the dope.
Let's take a look at the knockdown earlier in the round.
Left hand. Vasquez tried to come back, but he was off balance from the punch, and that's why it counted as a knockdown. Well, maybe we can get another entrance.
Let's take a look at the same knockdown from a slightly different angle. Maybe we can see what Vasquez was complaining to the referee about as he held his glove up. Watch their feet.
Yep.
That's what Vasquez was complaining to the referee about.
I always say that if you hit a guy with a straight punch and you stand on his front foot, you got a pretty good chance of knocking him down.
And George, you told us in the first round that the Prince would try to do that to Vasquez.
Yeah, which is very clever. You stand there and make contact with him, and knowing your right foot, left foot is way back there, he can't get you back. Throw your shot, and you can always get out of the way. That's very smart.
Well, now they're eliminating the third strand in the ropes.
Now that could be dangerous.
Yeah, that's going to be dangerous for the fighters and for everyone at ringside.
Or are they going to try to replace it?
No, just take it right out.
These two little guys could go right through there.
Is this the long wait automatically an advantage for the 37-year-old fighter?
No doubt. Vasquez is he's butting in the head. That's the second time Vasquez has done that. He's tried to butt the Prince. But it's a message. Stay out of my face with your foolishness.
And again, the Prince goes back to talk to promoter Frank Warren.
Now we know that Frank is a good trainer also, huh?
At least he thinks he is.
I've never seen this in a major fight, guys. You think you've seen everything. There's always something you've never seen, and here's a new one. I wonder if Fan Man is going to fly through here any minute.
Well, let's take a look at a couple of events from the undercard. This was a disgrace. Herbie Hyde defending some organization's world heavyweight title against Damon Reed at Topeka, Kansas. Reed didn't want to fight. He wanted to run. And this lasted less than 30 seconds. You're looking at action from the very beginning. But it was followed up by as brilliant a prize fight as you'll ever see. Chris Eubank on the left in the gold trunks against Manchester's own Carl Thompson. There's a knockout, or a knockdown, I should say, scored by Eubank. But over the closing rounds, the stronger Thompson was able to wear down Eubank and pound out a unanimous decision. The bravery of Eubank in this fight was magnificent to behold.
You know, I never liked Chris Eubank. I thought he was a fake. But he proved me wrong tonight, plus, boy, he just fought his heart and soul out.
And now the action resumes here with only 3 ropes. And they are buckling the second rope up into a higher position to try to provide more support, but we're going to fight the rest of this fight without a rope, George.
Yeah, that's going to help. You move the ropes up, you tighten them up a little bit, that'll help a lot. Remember, it was just recently that it was a demand of the boxing community to put that extra rope there.
And if one of these two guys goes through the ropes and lands in the front row, those at ringside have the consolation of knowing that they only weigh 9 stone. This is the 9-stone championship. Hard left hand by Hamed. Vasquez pounds away to the body.
Vasquez is really trying to get his head in there a little bit, so the referee better be conscious of that.
And Hamed's corner was up on its feet, complaining to referee Gino Rodriguez about what they saw as an attempted headbutt.
That's what I said about Vasquez. He should not leave the pure boxing skills that he has to go out there and start pulling foolishness for foolishness. You can't win that battle.
I think he's trying to get Hamed to come and fight him as he fought Kelly, but Hamed has had that bad experience once. And it might have been 10 minutes ago, but it was the same round when we had this knockdown.
The knockdown on which, as you can see more and more clearly with each replay, Prince Naseem's front foot was on Wilfredo Vasquez's left toe.
Not an unusual occurrence,
especially with southpaws.
When southpaws and conventional fighters clash.
Punched at numbers through those rounds, and incidentally, that was the 6th, not the 5th, as I told you. So we're halfway through the scheduled 12 rounds. Pardon me for losing track. Round 7 begins.
Now the Prince is trying to make Vasquez move his right foot up a little, right foot even with his left foot so he can get a good shot. So far, Vasquez is being orthodox, keeping the left foot forward and not doing as much.
Hard left hand by Prince Naseem Hamed. Pops with the right hand as Vasquez leans in, and another knockdown.
But it was right off of foolishness.
And that was the first one that he is really hurt. Got over 2 minutes, Hamed, to see if he can end this.
Right hand lands for the Prince. Left hand lands flush. Looking for a as Larry said.
The old man is hanging in there, using every bit of guile that he's learned over 16 years as a professional prize fighter to weather this storm.
The guys from Puerto Rico, they never give up. That's the good thing about learning your skill there.
Vasquez bravely determined not to be shown up by the flashy Prince. But the Prince has shown his punching power with 3 knockdowns of the veteran.
Well, we've now seen the Prince in 10 rounds, 6 knockdowns, including the Kelly fight.
You know, he's an excellent puncher, but he's not a finisher. If he doesn't get you real hard, you can recover from the shot.
Because most of his knockdowns come from a single punch, George, rather than from the accumulation of blows. He lands a hard left shot, and Vasquez is wobbling as he stands in front of him. Down again. No 3 knockdown rule in effect. Referee counting in Spanish for Vasquez's benefit. Naseem lands another one, and that's the end.
Give the old man credit. He came to fight, and as the song goes, you knock me down, I get up again, you're never going to keep me down. We didn't let him keep him down.
I love it, I love it.
But what explosive punching power, George, to continually be able to knock opponents down with a single punch at a time.
The Prince is the most impressive fighter around in any weight right now. He's got power, he's got good eyes, speed of foot, everything you want in a boxer.
More impressive than Oscar De La Hoya, Felix Trinidad, Ike Forte, Jose Luis Lopez, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. More impressive than any of them, George?
I'll tell you one thing, I would buy a ticket to Oscar's fight and the Prince's fight.
Well said, George.
18th consecutive knockout for Prince Naseem Hamed, who moves his record to 30-0 and makes an unwilling believer, at least for the moment, of Wilfredo Vasquez. Vasquez was totally out of it at the end, and referee Gino Rodriguez applied a humane stoppage after another big punch.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, he's a one-shot artist, but he's not able yet to really key in on finishing fighters with 3 and 4 punch combinations. Naseem, but he has the power.
Well, if he can light you up with one punch the way he does, why would he ever have to learn to do it in combinations?
That's the problem that I'd love to have if I was the Prince.
Such dynamite. In round 7, Hamed landed 35 of 52 punches, and 31 of them were power shots.
George ought to be 24 and have the reflexes of a lion.
Well, I sure wouldn't want to get in a ring with this Prince, though, even at 23.
Applause in the ring for Wilfredo Vasquez, and after some harsh moments between the two, the Puerto Rican veteran grins from ear to ear as he hugs Hamed and acknowledges the younger fighter's superiority here tonight.
Well, let's see that one punch, a right followed by a left. That was 2, George. Yeah. And right there by that time, Vasquez's snorkel was just barely above the water.
Whoa. You got to look up to find the guy. When you look up, he's there with a punch.
Spreads his feet and just launches you. Boom.
Vasquez has done nothing in this fight to disgrace a terrific career.
Now the second knockdown. And again, it was the left hand that put him on the canvas. Crunch.
From any angle, whether you're on the ground or in the air, it's impressive.
And here's the finish of the fight, and it was that left hand that prompted Rodriguez to jump in and say, enough's enough. Remember, it was a left hand shot just like those that you saw there that finished Kevin Kelly in Madison Square Garden.
Steps in and calls a halt to the bout. The official time, 2 minutes, 29 seconds of round number 7. The winner and still champion, and because of this, his victorious 10th world title defense, he is recognized by the WBO as Super World Champion, Prince Naseem.
Was leading on all 3 scorecards at the time of the knockout by margins of 58-54, 58-55, and 59-53.
Boy, he's committed to dancing. Even when the guy's on the floor, he did a little strutter too.
Final punch stat numbers, and of course mere numbers can never bespeak the glittering unorthodoxy of what Hamed does. 146 landed to only 75 for Vasquez. He threw 47 more punches. He landed 71 more punches, and his percentage greatly outdistanced that of the Puerto Rican star. And now let's go to Larry Merchant with the winner, Prince Naseem Hamed.
Congratulations, Prince. Was this more the style of fight that you want to fight rather than the brawl you had with Kevin Kelly?
Yeah, you know, I could have boxed like that in the Kelly fight, but again tonight I could have boxed even better. But I'm making no excuses like I never do, you know. I'm a true world champion, 10 defenses, 10 knockouts. In style, I had to take him apart, take my time, and then I took him out.
Did the old guy give you more resistance than you honestly expected?
He was a really, really good champion, and I give him credit more than before I boxed him, you know. He's a really good fighter, but I want to show all America that I'm the best featherweight in the world, and I've done that tonight. He was the world champion. He was world champion tonight, and I was world champion. And he's a bit hard-headed, but he had to get knocked out. I took my time and just planted my feet. And did you see them knockdowns? Wicked.
He's a more conventional boxer, puncher. You're anything but conventional. How much of an advantage is your style against fighters who have learned to fight the way most fighters have learned to fight?
My style takes people apart. It's totally on its own. It's unique. It's different. You know.
Could you see the frustration in him?
They don't see my shots. They're fast. They come all from different angles. And before they know it, they're on the floor. There was about 4 knockdowns in that fight, and they were all.
You were counting then.
Most definitely, you know.
We've had you for 11 rounds and 7 knockdowns now.
You know I'm exciting. That's what America wants. That's what America needs. And to Natalie out there and Freddie, you know, give him another chance. He deserves it.
Are you talking about Kevin Kelly? Are you going to have a rematch with Kevin?
I think a rematch should happen sometime or another, you know. I brought out the girl in Kevin that night. I took him out. And what can I say? Kevin's a very, very good fighter, but he got disposed and got dismantled by a real champion. What came to his hometown and did the job. Now, hopefully he's going to come to my hometown and I'm going to take him out again, but in style again and probably earlier.
How determined are you to make a kind of triumphant parade through all of the top featherweights, junior featherweights in the world?
I'm going to take over. I'm bringing boxing to a new era. Time will tell, and inshallah, I'm going to get there in my way, you know. I visualize my goal. I know what it takes to be a legend. And I'm going to take them super featherweights. I'm going to step up when I need to step up and keep winning belts in different ways. It's going to take me time, but you know, I'm very, very ambitious. Plenty of self-belief, and I believe in the Creator. I believe in Allah, and I will do it.
You told us yesterday that you could have gotten that very expensive Bentley 3 years ago, but you were going to delay your gratification. What can you look forward to next in the big toy department?
I don't know, you know. I've really put in my mind now, him who dies with most toys wins. So I'm gonna chill out for a bit, you know, a nice brand new Bentley and a few new other cars maybe coming up. I'm not too sure yet. I deserve everything that I get, you know, and double and more, because I've worked very hard from the age of 7 and I'm reaping the rewards and everything just cool, you know?
It is cool. Thank you very much, Jim.
You're more than welcome, Larry.
Jim?
All right, the man who has just been anointed by George Foreman in his ringside excitement tonight as the #1 fighter in the world. Of course, that discussion will come up again next week when we're covering Roy Jones against Virgil Hill. But George, he himself discussed the unorthodoxy of his style. The science of boxing has evolved over more than a century into the envelope that we saw Wilfredo Vasquez attempting to employ here tonight. 10 years from now, are we going to see fighters in all weight classes standing with their feet wide apart, leaping from one stance to another, and throwing wild shots at unorthodox angles like this man?
Well, this originated in the gym a long time before we saw him, and this is something that he has that other fighters will not be able to get because they don't need it. He was small, he was frail, and he had to get something else. Now, I say he's the best fighter around now because he makes no excuse. He fights the top fighters. I wouldn't even do that.
Well, what you like is excitement, and certainly nobody at this moment is producing round-by-round excitement the way this guy does.
It's a good look at greatness we're having. It's a wonderful thing to see him on HBO. I love it. I tell you, I love it.
You excited about seeing Roy Jones against Virgil Hill next week?
That's going to be a top fight. Finally.
Fight we've waited for 3 years.
A great fight, and Roy Jones got those muscles, you know, in his stomach.
All right. Good job tonight, George. Thanks very much. Joined again now by Larry Merchant. And Larry, let's look down the road for just a moment. What are some of the potential matchups on the horizon for Prince Naseem Hamed?
Well, the thing that everybody is waiting for, presumably, is a rematch with Kevin Kelly, but there's also McKinney out there, McCullough, Barrera. There's a lot of good fighters. Junior Jones, Norwood. There's a fighter in the Philippines whose name escapes me right now.
Luisito
Espinoza. And he wants him, and just God bless him. In this day and age, when it's so difficult to get the money-making fighters to take risks, this is a kid who's willing to take all the risks. And maybe that will rub off on some of the guys who are bigger and supposedly better.
What style do you think it would take to turn the tables and create a style disadvantage for Prince Naseem Hamed?
I can't say. It's going to take somebody who's very quick, very tough, and maybe can slow him down in the body, connect with a big punch, and learn how to finish him off. Kelly showed some of that in their fight last December, but he was a little impatient, and so he got nailed. It's going to take somebody who has some youth and spirit and won't be discouraged by facing something that you just never faced before.
And it's probably going to take somebody who will finally show the necessary respect for the Prince's extraordinary one-punch punching power.
You've got to be able to...
Undefeated King of Beers, this Bud's for You presents